This show is part of the RetroZap.com podcast network.
And welcome everybody to another episode of the Animanicast.
Hey Dad, this is Pinkie, and you're listening to Animanicast. You know why? Because you're going to take over the world.
Narf.
And welcome once again to the Animanicast. We're the only podcast out there that's dedicated to the animated television series, Animaniacs. And here we explore the series episode by episode. We talk about all the cultural references and gags that we can find, and of course in the end, we give every episode a water tower rating, usually, but today's not one of those days. I am Joey, and joining me from Los Angeles once again is my brother Nathan.
Merchandising, where the real money is made.
That's right, yogurt. Today, Kelly is not with us today, so we decided to do a little special episode and talk a little bit about some Animaniacs news, as well as talk about Rob Paulsen in our second installment of Rob Paulsen is one of the nicest people on Earth. And of course we did this a year ago, and it just so happened to be around Rob Paulsen's birthday. I think it was just a coincidence, by the way, that happened to work. It was serendipity. We had so many great responses that I said, hey, let's see who else might have some stories out there about Rob Paulsen. And let me tell you, our listeners and folks who follow us on Twitter and such did not disappoint, because they sent in a ton of stories. And hopefully we'll get to as many as we can today. Don't be upset if we can't get to your story today. We promise that we will get to it eventually in the next few episodes. So, but we have so many, which is awesome, because they're all really sweet stories. So the first thing, however, we're going to be talking about is Animaniacs merchandising. Woo! Mm-hmm. This just, in fact, one of these little pieces of merchandise just got released yesterday, I believe, and it was really exciting. But Nathan, I shared some pictures with you, and this all came from New York Toy Fair, which was just held a few weeks ago. Let's talk about some of this merchandise. What do you think, just in generalities, when you start seeing all this merchandise that's starting to show up here? What are your initial thoughts when you saw these pictures?
Getting pumped for the reboot, I guess. I don't know. It's just exciting to get more merchandising as the reboot's getting closer.
Yeah, definitely. It's a small sign of things to come. Mm-hmm. I think Warner Brothers is definitely going to be having a major push of merchandise. And for as excited as people got for just a few little things right here, we're going to see a lot more. I think what Warner Brothers would like to have is something like Nickelodeon has right now, where Nickelodeon is promoting a lot of their classic shows, Ren and Stimpy and Rugrats and everything like that, with new merchandise, and it's selling well. And they have a whole, Nickelodeon universe of characters to pull from, whether it's SpongeBob or Rugrats or Rocco or whatever. I think Warner Brothers is finally saying, maybe we should start making some other stuff than just Bugs Bunny and stuff like that from those characters. So, this is exciting. So let's get right into it.
I'd like to buy these, please. Thank you. Here.
And I know other Americans join with me in saying, Ich bin ein Nudelnoggin.
First up is Kid Robot. And Kid Robot is a company that makes several different things for various companies. I know they have some blind packaged Simpsons and Futurama figures that I've seen in many cons, and I think they also have a deal with Nickelodeon. Yeah, they have a deal with Nickelodeon as well. So they do some SpongeBob and Rugrats, and I think Ren and Stimpy figures as well. So they got really lucky. Now they have the Animaniacs license as well, and they have put together blind packaged figures for Animaniacs and Tiny Toons put together. This was surprising. I was not too surprised to see Animaniacs merchandise, but the fact that they are releasing Tiny Toons merchandise was pretty exciting and not expected at all.
Yes.
So some of the figures that they have right here, and I'm looking at the picture here, and gosh darn it, I wish I was there, Nathan, because I would have gotten different angles of this box. They were in this glass display, and they have the figures they have out of the box ready for people to see are Pinkie, Dizzy Devil, and Dr. Scratch and Sniff, and they are blocking some of the other figures that will be offered. So, Nathan, can you see some of the figures there and list them off for us?
Yeah, I can see Babs and Buster Bunny, Yakko and Slappy, and that's all I can really for sure tell.
Yeah, right? One would assume Wacko would be there, right? I mean, you got it, and Dot, right? Mm-hmm. But we can't see. So, but, kind of like going, I think I see Hampton's ear.
Yeah, that could be. I think that's Hampton's ear, next to Slappy. Now,
these blind... Oh, in fact, yes, it is, because I have one slight other angle, and it says J Pig on the other angle that I have. But the really exciting thing is that underneath Hampton is a mystery figure. Now, Nathan, I sent you that mystery figure, and it's a blind. So these blind first of all, have you ever gotten any of these blind figure packagings at all? I know they're really popular right now.
Yeah, no, I don't think I've bought any. I remember people would buy Pokemon cards, and there'd be blind packages and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But no, I never bought anything like that.
I mean, I get close to sometimes, because I know there's Star Wars ones, and they have a really cool... I love the new DuckTales series, and they have those out in blind packaging, and I know the one mystery figure, the chase figure, I guess it is, right? I think that's what they call them. The chase figure for that set is Darkwing Duck. I'm like, oh man, to get a little Darkwing Duck, that would be so cool. But... these figures are kind of expensive. So they're actually $10 each for a blind package figure. And I'm like, oh man, that's a lot to invest. The mystery figure in this case is, it's got something with kind of spiky-ish hair.
Mm-hmm. Maybe a superhero?
Perhaps. What we're hoping is Freakazoid.
Yeah, it looks like it would be. But
it's hard to say for sure.
I mean, it would make the most sense.
It would make the most sense, wouldn't it? I sent it over to Paul Rugg and Tom Ruger to say, what do you guys think? And they just said, maybe. If it is, it would be the first Freakazoid toy, I believe. All Paul Rugg said was, and Tom Ruger said, maybe, hard to decipher those lines. So, yeah, it is, and that's kind of the point. They don't want you to be able to decipher those lines. But honestly, I can't think of one other Animaniacs or Tiny Toons figure it could be. And again, I'm thinking with the DuckTales line, how Darkwing Duck, who does make an appearance on the show, sort of, kind of, on the new series. It would just make sense. When I compare the two blind figure things, I think Freakazoid would be the best one to put in there.
Yeah, I mean, Freakazoid was on Animaniacs, kind of.
He was.
Painting.
He was.
A photo of him.
Well, he, and not only that,
Plot's
no, more than that, Nathan. Don't you remember he was in this Pun for Hire?
Oh, that's right.
He had speaking lines, and he interacted with them, and he wasn't animated very well, but he was there.
There you go. Yeah.
So he's an Animaniac now too. So.
Excuse me, am I in the right place?
And you are...
Freakazoid.
Oh, right. No, the Freakazoid set is down the hall, third door on the right, stage 12.
Blah, blah, blah.
I think that it may have changed.
Thanks.
This is a zany episode.
And now, back to our story.
And I'm pretty darn sure that that's Freakazoid. And that, honestly, would be the thing that would keep me buying more figures. Would be, maybe I'll get Freakazoid this time. So, I think what we might have to do is set up a trading system or something like that on our Discord site or something like that for our listeners to trade figures or something like that. Maybe, I don't know. That involves a lot of trust with a lot of people to actually mail the other figures back and forth. So maybe I don't want that responsibility, but we'll see if we can help each other out, right? Because that's what friends are for. Well, anyway, let's go and move on to the next thing from Kid Robot here. Pinkie and the Brain, big vinyl figure right here. $50.
How big is it? It's hard to tell.
How big is that? That is. It doesn't look too big. It looks about as big as. Let me guess. I would say a little bit taller than the Good Feathers figure, perhaps from Q-Figs. QMX. Doesn't look too big, and I'm not a big fan of the look of this for whatever reason.
Yeah,
it's definitely a more stylized take on them. Pinkie's in a straitjacket, and the Brain is on top of him with plans to rule the world.
And he's grabbing his tongue.
Grabbing
Pinkie's tongue. It's weird.
Yes. I do like how it's set up for balancing, that Pinkie's tail is kind of in this kind of loop to make it a nice, sturdy way for them to be supported and everything, which I thought that was cool. But I don't know, $50 for that figure.
Yeah, I would say 20.
Yeah, I would say 20, 25. The other figures, what are they calling these things? The mini series from Kid Robot. They're stylized as well, obviously. They almost, they have bigger heads and smaller arms and stuff like that. But these, I would hope to have it be a little bit more accurate to what the cartoon show actually looks like. And I don't really like how that figure looks. I mean, whatever. Well, there is some more blind packaging things for us, though. And these I thought were super cute. And this is, I think, just Tiny Toons, although I would not be surprised if they release these in Animaniacs form as well. These are Tiny Toon keychains. And let's see, it looks like in a carton, it says CDU quantity 24. So that must be in one box, I guess, 24 of them. And in the carton of it, it's 96. Well, anyway, they're $6 each is the suggested retail price. $6 for a blind packaged keychain. I think that's not bad. They actually look almost identical to the minifigures or the miniseries blind packages, except they just have a little thing because they show Dizzy in both of them. Dizzy just looks a little smaller, I should say. But yeah, a lot of cool Tiny Toon figures from the past.
And obscure ones. Like I don't remember most.
Yeah, these are ones like Calamity Coyote, Little Beeper, Bookworm. Like Bookworm, they put Bookworm in there, and Barky. I think his name's Barky Malarkey or something like that. Again, yeah, exactly. I'm like, did I put him in there? Buster and Babs, Hampton, Dizzy. Let's see. I see Go-Go. Looks like I see Little Sneezer. Fifi.
Yeah.
But
I was wondering who that was.
Yeah, way on the side.
See it. Yeah,
and I
see your
can't
tail
quite see. There's something right. Oh, Furball. It looks like the ears of a Furball sticking over Dizzy's shoulder, but no Plucky, which is kind of odd since he's one of the most popular characters. And I was thinking like, well, maybe he's there. He's just, just behind somebody, but I don't know. I just don't see.
Could be further right, but I
get it's just so weird. I mean, but honestly, I think if he's not in this round, here's what they're going to do. They're just hoping like these sell well, and then they have volume 2, and you put Plucky and Shirley the Loon in it or something,
and then the Animaniacs and
yeah, exactly, and then put some Animaniacs. I'm a little surprised that they didn't have a little keychain set for Animaniacs, but maybe they will. Maybe they're just they didn't feature them in New York Toy Fair. One of the cool things about these as well is I believe these are they're all expected April 2019, so we're just about a month or so away from these actually being on store shelves. So exciting.
That's for all of them? Is that right?
Yeah, for all these figures. I'm just saying, Kid Robot, if you're like to send us some free, boxes of these things, well, we promise to give them very good reviews, very thorough reviews,
unbiased, excellent.
Well, we're not done with the Kid Robot stuff yet because there's still funny dolls as well, and these go for $12. And not only that, but they have a description that has been listed on. I think this might be from Big Bad Toy Store, is one of the places that you can pre-order these for $11.99. Nathan, why don't you go and read for us what it says here for the description?
All right, funny dolls, $11.99. Expect the unexpected and grab the famous trio Yakko, Wacko, and Dot as they finally escape from the Warner Brothers tower to take over your collection. Kid Robot helps you capture all your favorite cartoon stars from Tiny Toons and Animaniacs in huggable form with the new Animaniacs and Tiny Toons funnies. Sitting up at 8 inches high and ready for anything, these funnies bring you some new comedy to any funny collection.
All right. And then we have some
6 of them.
Yeah, we have some concept pictures of them that we've posted all these pictures, by the way, on our Facebook and Twitter and I believe Instagram as well. So you can check them out there. But yeah, they look cute. It's kind of hard to judge how they'll actually look because these are just pictures. Mm-hmm. But Plucky is on this at least.
And he looks huge in these pictures, but I'm assuming they're not to scale.
Yeah, it's not to scale. It's probably my fault because I'm the one who put them close to each other right there, and it's just from the ear to into the feet. Never mind, Nathan. Tom Ruger said the same thing on our Facebook page. It's like, Plucky's huge. It's like, no. Well, I had to ask Kid Robot a little bit more about all this stuff. I tried to get more information from them. So I reached out to Kid Robot's customer service to see if they could give us a listing of the characters, because I said, it was at New York Comic Con. Can you please just tell us the other figures that are on the box? And their response were, "Hello, Joey. Thanks for reaching out. We're excited too. Unfortunately, I'm not allowed to give out any information about this upcoming release right now, but keep a close eye out on our social media for many updates coming this spring." And then I said, okay, is there any, there's the figures block out some of the things though. Can you please just tell us a little bit? And she said, "I truly wish I could give you a character list, but because the characters are not finalized yet, it could cause complications with our contract with the licensor. We hope you understand and promise there will be more updates coming soon." We don't understand, Kid Robot. We don't understand, but I guess we understand. But we'll have to wait just a few weeks. Darn it. Well, that was pretty much wrapping up all the merchandise, or so we thought. But no way. Just yesterday, we got, I think it was Cameron Brewer, our listener, Cameron. She sent me a thing on Twitter saying, Animaniacs Monopoly, and sure enough, Big Bad Toy Store and many of the other online stores were starting pre-sales for the Animaniacs Monopoly set. And this is coming out this month, ladies and gentlemen. Comes out, well, it could be out in stores when this episode gets released. Who knows? I don't know. But the suggested retail price on this is going to be $40 or $39.99, basically. A lot of places are kind of pre-selling it for $35. Nathan, why don't you describe for us what do we got here in this Monopoly set?
Well, you may not know of the game Monopoly, but in general, no. Animaniacs Monopoly by USAopoly, $39.99, comes out in March. And then there's more description. Scene-stealing Warner siblings, Yakko, Wacko, and Dot. It's kind of rude to call them scene-stealing.
I know, seriously.
All right, are joined by Pinkie and the Brain and Dr. Otto von Scratch and Sniff. In this reimagined Monopoly game, players bounce around the board collecting other cast members, locations, and more from the 90s hit cartoons. And it's for ages 8 and up, 2 to 6 players. It's the same. There's collectible tokens. There's the 6 characters you can play as.
The chance cards, though, are different. The community chests are different.
Yeah. It's the chance cards are try to take over the world cards, and the community chests are Wheel of Morality cards. The Warner Bucks, they're custom made for this.
Houses are called skits.
Skits, but I think they're just still shaped like houses, right? They don't really. They just say they're renamed as skits.
Yeah, I don't know. The picture I could see doesn't really show them too well. Let's see. Do they even show them in the thing?
No, I don't see in there.
Yeah, so we don't know what the house tokens.
But it just says they're renamed. So
renamed. Well, I'm sure they're like actual like. I don't know how those would look. Okay, so they have scripts for the houses, and then the hotels are episodes.
Yeah, well, it's skits and episodes,
right? That you can.
And then
buy.
they have rules.
Oh, good. They included the rules in the box.
Yeah.
Well, let's go over to the different. I'm going to start over kind of in the Oriental Avenue area, and then kind of move around as best I can through reading some of these. So Rita and Runt are in here. This is the weird thing about the board, is that I was going to assume like, oh, it's going to be like just talking about new Warners, but all the inside is all classic Animaniacs stuff, which was surprising to see. I liked it. Rita and Runt are the first 2 properties.
The worst ones.
Well, hey, your words, not mine. Good idea, bad idea. It looks like it's the tax, whatever that sales tax I think at the beginning is. Instead of railroads, however, we have Pinkie and the Brain's attempts to take over the world. You can buy those things. So it looks like the first one is the I think it's the infundibulator. That's what it is. I think it's the infundibulator is the first one. Moving on, then we have the girl feathers and the girl feathers, the good feathers, and the god pigeon as the next ones. We also
always think of that as Hoth, but I'm always used to Star Wars Monopoly.
Pinkie and the Brain, I guess, there's the 2 different cards, right? You have the try to take over the world, which is the community chest, I think, right? What did we say? Yeah. And then the Wheel of Morality is community chest. Chance is try and take over the world. I guess that makes sense because you have to take a chance. Then we have Mindy and Buttons, which includes her mom. I think I just call it Lady. They say Lady or Mindy's mom in parentheses. Instead of Waterworks, it's the Water Tower. Cute. Skippy and Slappy are on here. Walter Wolf is a property. Minerva Mink is a property. Kitty Kaboom is a property. Miss Flameel is a property.
Like they're just random ones.
I think that's the weirdest collection. Yeah. It's like, well, we have these female characters. I don't know, put them together. Let's see, another Pinkie and the Brain way to take over the world. The Vacuumulator from I believe that's the episode where they go to the Tsar and try to steal the jewels. The Hip Hippos are on it. Colin, or in parentheses, the Randy Beeman kid. Looks like instead of the power. What is that? What do they call it on Monopoly?
It was the Death Star power core, I think.
The Star Wars one.
Maybe not. Is that not right?
Waterworks and the Electric Company. Okay, well, instead of the Electric Company, it's a soundstage, and it looks like the episode right there from Hello, Nice Warners. Chicken Boo, dressed up as Davy Omelette, is right there, is the final thing. And then we're getting close to the end. We're getting to the more expensive properties. In the green, we have Hello Nurse, Ralph Teagard, Thaddeus Plots, and let's see, and the final last properties are for the Park Place and Boardwalk. We have Acme Labs and the WB Studio lot. Oh, and of course, a Mime Time in there as well.
For badness.
For badness, because you have to pay money for right there. And of course, the other stuff like, they don't change, go to jail, and free parking.
Which is sad, because that would be cool to have like Ralph the Guard.
Wouldn't it? But they always
never
keep
do that.
Yeah, they always keep them the same. I don't know why that is in Monopoly games, but I guess it's just to show that it is a genuine Monopoly board. You know what I mean? Maybe that's why they do that as just kind of a licensing, thumbprint to show that it's an official Monopoly product. That's all I can think. But yeah, quite a few things. Now, we're not done talking about the packaging. While the inside is classic stuff, the outside was especially interesting because it looks like we might have our first glimpse at what Yakko, Wakko, and Dot look like on the new series. So, Nathan, how would you describe these Warners this time?
Well, we have Wakko and Dot are very happy, and Yakko's very grumpy.
Why? It confuses me, and to a certain degree, kind of upsets me. I kind of feel like Yakko at this point. Why is he upset? I'm mad that he's mad. For a lot of different reasons. Like, Wakko and Dot look almost identical in their expression and their hand gesture. They're facing different directions.
Facing directions, yeah.
And so they couldn't do the same with Yakko, or at least put him in his, standard, I'm going to lean my chin on my hand move. I don't understand this. I don't like it. I don't like it. I actually talked about it, and I think it was Cameron who actually said Yakko is mad that he's being rebooted. Yeah, I was on our Discord channel. I said, why is he so mad? He's like, he doesn't want to be rebooted. Like, apparently not. It does look very similar to the Animaniacs that we have seen before, but it also looks in some ways a little simplified, I guess you could say, right?
Yeah. Well, especially like Dot and Wakko look, identical.
Yeah.
They're just like, it's just a red hat on one of them,
That's true. It just looks reversed, but with a hat on one of them. Yeah, the faces look almost identical. And Yakko's eyes look all messed up. Like the way, I'm not a fan of this. And just knowing that this might be the image that we end up seeing on a lot of merchandise kind of makes me upset. Like, that, like, who okayed that? Because that's going to be on so many things now, and now I have to look at that awful Animaniacs design. I think it's fair to say that this might be flash animated, when it comes down to it. The simplicity and the colors and everything of it definitely look like, okay, this might be, not the typical hand drawn stuff that we're used to. It's definitely going to be digitally assisted in some way, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but it's just hey, what the heck? It could be worse, right?
As long as it's still good,
Yeah, and that's the main thing. As long as it's still good, hey, I'm not going to complain. Pinkie and the Brain also, we should mention, do look slightly different as well. If you kind of zoom into the photo, Nathan, I don't know if you can, but if you zoom in, you can see that they also look a little bit different as well. Not much, but some people I think on Twitter were mentioning how Pinkie looks like he's a little too buck-toothed or something like that. I don't know. He just looks a little off. The Wheel of Morality also looks different. If we want to get into the small details of stuff too. But that also might just be for the board game, so I can't get too...
Yeah, it's kind of hard to say on these.
And also, if it does change, it still is just the Wheel of Morality. It's not like it's the most important thing in the world. It's not like I'm going to be seeing the Wheel of Morality the entire episode.
Yeah, I mean, like, even, I think the mime looks different, you know.
No.
But it might also just be that, you know, this is just a board game, so I'm not too worried. Like,
Almost everything on the board game itself looks like it's from the classic series. Like I can pinpoint and go, oh, I know what episode that's from, and that's cool. And that makes me really want to get this board game. But again, it makes me a little apprehensive when I see the new designs and go, it doesn't look as good as I think it should. Whatever, I'm sure it'll be fine, and I could see myself picking up a copy of this. And I guarantee you, folks, once this is available on Amazon, it will be on our Amazon shop, as well as these other pieces of merchandise. As they start appearing online on Amazon, oh, you better believe it that I will be putting this stuff on our Amazon shop. Nathan, why don't you hit us with the web address? Where should people go if they want to say, like, well, where is this Amazon Animanicast shop? Where do I go?
I don't know. It's hard to remember. So you're thinking Animanicast, you're thinking Amazon. All right, so get a pen. It's amazon.animanicast.com. Is that right?
That's it.
Okay. Good.
Oh my gosh. Actually, I guess it's not that difficult at all.
Do you know which character you would play as in this Monopoly game?
I would play...
I think I know who I would pick.
Okay, here's the problem.
Yeah, first choice.
First choice? These tokens all look weird. I would pick the Brain because he looks the least weird.
Yeah, I would pick the Brain as well. Because, I mean, you're also trying to take over the world, and it would be like, yeah, I'm taking over everything.
That is,
Brain.
yes. And granted, you're trying to buy up the characters, I guess, for your script, I think is what the concept is, right? But either way, you're trying to take over the world. Each one of these, I mean, I can't be too hard on these tokens because these tokens always look weird, when they make them so small out of metal. But some of them Dot looks kind of cute. Pinkie looks all right.
Yakko looks weird again.
Yakko looks very weird.
I don't know what is with it.
Dr. Scratch and Sniff looks like he's an alien with the big bug eyes and stuff. So, but again, I can't be too hard on it. It is just a game token.
Yeah, exactly.
Out of the cheapest metal.
Yeah. But everyone wants to be the top hat or whatever.
Exactly. Yeah, the Brain will be the figure to grab. I totally agree. The Brain is the one to grab first, ladies and gentlemen. So just be aware. Oh, here's what you do. You go to Kid Robot, you get some blind packaged figures. You make those your tokens.
The keychains?
Yeah, get the keychains for Tiny Toons, or maybe the minifigs if they're small enough, and you put those on the board. There. You just solved a problem.
I like it.
And that's called synergy right there. That's working with other companies, and it's all good. So, well, let's take a break right now, and we'll be right back with part 2 of our Rob Paulsen is one of the nicest people on Earth thing. Let's just go to a break.
Kids WB will be right back. Yup, after these messages. And we hope that you'll be back too.
Greetings, Persons Perusing Podcast.
Are you looking for something a little different for your Star Wars themed shows?
Then join millions of others who now proudly call themselves scoundrels.
I don't think it's millions, Taxes.
It has to be close by now. After all the word of mouth and interwebs, nothing exists in a vacuum, Dennis.
Space does.
I'm not sure what this space vacuum you're talking about is.
Never mind. So if you're looking for a unique show for news, hot space opinions, unique discussion points with our hypotheticals, or Taxes' musings with Saber Clash, then tune into Starships, Sabers, and Scoundrels with me, Dennis Keithley.
Me, Jay Krebs.
And me, your humble little Dark Lord of the Shtick, Darth Taxis. From failed bits to musical guests to dancing Wookiees, you never know who might drop by.
You really never do.
So start your engines, fire up your sabers, hold on tight, and join us.
For Starships, Sabers, and Scoundrels.
Part of the RetroZap Podcast Network.
Hey, you guys, it's Rob Paulsen here. I am so thrilled that we have the Animanicast to continue to find a way to help me to get a frickin' job. Thank you for listening. Bye.
All right, and we are back, and it's time to read some emails. We all know how great Rob Paulsen is. We've all had interactions with him, and anyone who has been lucky enough usually comes away with a really cool story to tell, and we have a lot of listeners who wrote us with some cool stories, don't we, Nathan?
Yes. Apparently he is still a nice person after this whole year.
Good. Excellent. Wouldn't that be horrible if we just started getting all these things about how he's changed? No.
He's not nice anymore. Oh no, what?
Well, we're going to get through as many of these emails as we can. And so if you emailed us in when we first put out that alert, you have a good chance to get in today. Otherwise, we'll try to get you in the next couple episodes. Nathan, the first email, it's pretty long. Do you think you can get through that one?
I'll try. Now, just bear with me. All right, this is at least 2 sentences. All right, this is from Jim. Rice. This is from Jim. Jim says he called my 2 sons on their birthdays as a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle made their birthday extra special. Thank you, Jim.
Thank you, Jim. Jim wins the shortest and to the point email award.
Yeah, I could read that 6 more times, but I won't. But good job. I like it.
Well, let's go to number 2. Number 2 says, "To the Animanicast, my name is Nadia, and I am from Staten Island, New York. I have a story that I would like to share about why Rob Paulsen is one of the nicest people on earth. This past October, I attended my first Animaniacs live show at Joe's Pub in New York City, where it was one of the most memorable experiences and best concerts I've been to. Before the show, Rob was greeting everyone attending the show, and I had the pleasure of meeting him. I thanked him for coming to New York City, and he said it was his pleasure while speaking to me as Yakko Warner. After the show, I got a chance to see him again, but this time he hugged me, took a picture with me, and I told him how much his character Carl Wheezer from Jimmy Neutron makes me smile. He was touched by this and thanked me and gave me another hug. That was the story I shared on why Rob Paulsen is one of the nicest people on earth." Thanks. Yes, it was, Nadia. Thank you so much for that email. All right, what do we got for number 3, Nathan?
All right, I got another short one.
You're just lucky.
Just luck of the draw. Love it. Oh, I got this one from Jordan from Canton, Michigan. "It is such an honor to share a birthday with a wonderful fellow Michiganer. Although I have never personally met Rob, the childhood memories that he has had a hand in, and the fact that he continues to share and carry on such awesome characters is a testament to how much he cares for his fans and for those of us who wish to share these shows with the next generation. Happy also birthday, Rob, and thank you for everything you have done for us." Yeah.
There you go.
I thought Jordan was going to say, I like that he continues to share his birthday with me.
And he will continue to do so for hopefully a long time. All right. 4th email right here says, "Why I love Rob. Let me count the ways." Just kidding. I met him at New York Comic Con back in 2012. He was nice enough to sign my swag and chat with me and my friend for a few minutes before his next panel. I met up with him again in 2018, still as sweet and as the first time I met him. He is so humble, down to earth, and appreciative of his fans. He takes the time to interact with said fans at cons and on Twitter, gives great hugs. He beat the monster known as cancer. Hearing his voice makes me smile. Sincerely, Faye A. Weber. Very good. Thank you so much, Faye. Number 5.
Number 5. This one's from Wendy, sent from Wendy's iPhone. Says Rob Paulsen is a great guy. We saw Rob several times back when they were doing those store tours that they did. I had drawn a picture of him and a lot of his characters around it. It was okay. Never going into a museum or anything, but he absolutely flipped when I gave it to him and told him that I had drawn it for him. He acted like it was the most amazing thing he had ever seen. He called Jess and Tress over to come see it and just made the biggest deal about it. It really made my day. He just seems like a real, genuine guy. And that is still one of my favorite memories. It would be first if Jess hadn't called me on the phone once, but that's another story.
Yeah, we've had... Thank you very much, Wendy, for that. And yeah, that's... Jess, you can't trust Jess with phones, is what we found out. I'll have to share that again on Twitter or something. But yeah, Jess, we left Nathan's phone once at Jess Harnell's booth. And
smartest thing to do.
Yeah, exactly. So he grabbed it and left a nice voice message for you.
That I almost deleted.
Yeah, exactly. No! Okay. Let's see. Number 6. My message for Rob Paulsen's birthday. I have met Rob twice in the last 3 years. Wow. And he's truly one of the friendliest and kindest actors I've met. The last time I saw him, I told him how much I appreciate his support for autism awareness, especially since I have high-functioning autism. He gave both me and my best friend, who also has autism, a big hug. He truly treasures all of his fans and the stories they tell him. His voice work has meant so much to me ever since I was in preschool, when I watched Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Disney afternoon shows. He is also a comedic genius. I think Animaniacs and Pinkie the Brain are some of the funniest shows of all time. My little brother and I also really enjoyed watching Jimmy Neutron together. I hope to see him again in the near future, along with his castmates from the original 1987 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles cartoon, who I haven't met yet. And that is from Andrew. So thank you so much, Andrew. It's an awesome thing. And he really is. I mean, the thing is, yeah, Rob does really, I know on Twitter, really does speak out for autism awareness, and is honestly has some of the kindest words to say for those with autism, and is so friendly to everybody. So whether you have a disability or not, he's always there to be friends with you and give you a hug, which is awesome.
Yeah. What a nice guy.
What a nice guy. All right, Nathan.
Okay, so this one says, "Hi, less than 3.
My name, heart. It's a heart, Nathan.
It's clearly a less than sign and 3. And
okay.
If you're going to stop me each time, this is going to take forever. My name's Layla, and I already sent one of these last year, but I have another story to tell." And then it says :D.
Smiley face.
This didn't happen too recently. It actually happened last year on March 30th, 2018. So my mom and I decided to go see the Animaniacs in concert once again. The show was freaking fantastic, and afterwards we chose to stay and try to meet Rob. This was my second time meeting him. When it was finally my turn, I told him who I was, and he was very happy to see me. And then it says, "See," and then...
It's another smiley face.
Is that like
something? It's a smiley face of some sort.
Maybe a tear?
Yeah, I don't know.
Apostrophe and then colon.
There's another one coming up too.
Yep.
There's a lot of them in this one.
I thanked him for I thanked him for following me on Instagram and Twitter. He said, "My pleasure." And then I got him to sign my Yakko pop toy and my phone case, C apostrophe colon. After all this was done, I asked him if he could do one more thing for me. Donatello is definitely my favorite character, and that he's done. And he's my biggest cartoon crush, apostrophe 3. I don't even know what that would be. All right. So I asked him if he could say anything to me as Donnie, and being the genuine and kind man that he is, he said yes. Apostrophe D.
Yes.
So he went on and did it. Less than 3. I was smiling like an idiot the entire time. Then, when he was done, he kissed my head. Apostrophe D. I wanted to cry of happiness so much. LOL. XD. I felt
Disney
like...
XD.
No. Exactly. I felt like a part of me was complete after he did that. That's enough words to describe how much I admire. There's not enough words to describe how much I admire this man. Less than 3, apostrophe, parentheses, close parentheses. I mean, he is an absolute treasure to this cruel earth. Less than 33. I hope to have the opportunity to meet him again in the future. ! Less than 3.
Wow. Okay, so if you're following at home, you can transcribe those emoticons yourself and see what exactly those are supposed to be. There's a lot of smiley faces and hearts, Nathan.
Yeah.
Just so you know. But when you're dealing with a very literal person like Nathan, it doesn't translate. So sorry about that.
I'm going to give the users the most visual account possible. So
exactly. Well, we'll just read one more email for today, and because this one was quite nice, and we've already shared the picture that I believe came with this as well on our social media. This came from David, and David says, "Hello, I'm sure I will get lost in the thousands of examples of why Rob Paulsen is an amazing human being, but I wanted to share my story about why I will love him. Apologies if it's a little long. Growing up, my mother and I watched a lot of Animaniacs. I was born in 1985, so I was exactly the intended age when it came out in 1993. That's debatable. Okay, never mind. Because I think I was, but whatever. Anyway, my mother and I watched it in the mornings before school, and it was fantastic bonding time for both of us, as well as being the type of show which hit both of our senses of humor. Later that year, my mom discovered that she had breast cancer with a very small 10 to 13% chance of survival. While she endured chemotherapy and radiation, one of the things which kept her going was sitting and watching Animaniacs with me in the afternoons. She generally wasn't feeling well in the mornings. The show still made her laugh, and it helped her to forget, if only for half an hour, the difficulty with her illness. Last year at Kansas City Comic-Con, I saw Rob Paulsen was going to attend and had my mother, now 15 plus years cancer-free, visit in order to meet him. I'd recently also discovered a YouTube video of Rob at Speech Bubble, where he talked about his battle with his own cancer and how laughter had helped him deal with it as well. When I got to talk with Rob at Comic-Con, I let him know how much it meant to my mother that he'd been part of her journey through cancer. He didn't realize she was there and immediately told me to call her so that he could let her know in person how much it meant to him. When I informed him that she was there, he left the booth and they went over to give her a huge hug. Even with the number of people who waited in line, he spent a few minutes asking her about her health and relating to her as a person rather than just another fan. It's not something he had to do, but it meant the world to both of us. Still, a year later, she has the picture they took together, which he refused to take any money for. She has it framed on the wall and mentions he is one of the nicest men she has ever met. Rob helped us laugh at some of our darkest times, as well as everyone else who worked on the show. But the question is specifically about him. And those minutes he took to talk with my mother are the ones which neither she nor I will ever forget. I cannot thank him enough for his courtesy and kindness. I've attached their picture below, has my sister in it as well, but hopefully you can see the sheer joy on my mother's face. Thank you for letting me share my story, David. I think that is an awesome story, and thank you so much, David. We're gonna stop right there on our Rob Paulsen stories. We have still many more stories to go over. But just like last year, I think what we'll do is we'll hold off on some of these, and then in the next few episodes, we'll make sure to share at least 2 or maybe 3 emails, depending on their length, so that we can hear them all. And if you have not yet shared your thoughts, well, send them on in. And where can they email those stories, Nathan?
At animanicast@retrozap.com, is that right?
Yep.
Perfect.
The whole thing, by the way, I gotta when he was mentioning about laughter and that last message there from David, if you folks who listen to Rob Paulsen's Talkin' Toons podcast know that he says laughter is the best medicine. The cool thing is you can't OD and the refills are free. And that is a great motto to live by, and it certainly is true in David's case with his mother. Well, before we close up shop, hey, next week we're going to start something different here on the Animanicast. We are going to start our discussions of the, I think you call them, Nathan, the prequels and the sequels and the spin-offs.
Spin-offs and print-offs.
Yeah, sure. of Animaniacs. So we're going to start at the very beginning with Tiny Toon Adventures. And the very beginning of the very beginning. We're going to go for the pilot episode, or the first episode of Tiny Toon Adventures that was released. So if, in the meantime, go on Hulu or bring out the DVD or whatever and watch that first episode. And then in our next episode, we'll have a discussion about it, about the stuff that we liked. So, yeah.
We'll try this and we'll see how it goes. And, stick with us and it's going to be awesome.
It's going to be awesome. Yeah, we're going to do we're going to do Tiny Toons, and then we're going to jump probably over to, I'm guessing, Pinkie and the Brain, the next discussion, and then over to Freakazoid, and then looping back over to another episode of Tiny Toons. So
yeah, we may do some comic books or something in between, so we'll figure it.
Yeah, there's a lot other Animaniacs stuff to talk about as well.
Yeah, and then maybe have some special guesting. We got to get Tom Ruger back on eventually.
Yeah, exactly.
So we'll be visiting Animaniacs sporadically, and yeah.
It's all connected.
But yeah, next week, Tiny Toons, if all goes to plan.
Yes, next week, Tiny Toons. Well, let's go ahead and get to some contact information. Nathan, where can people get in contact with you online?
Twitter, Django FT, that's me.
All right. And as for the Animanicast, we're on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram. And like we said, email as well, animanicast@retrozap.com. And speaking of RetroZap, hey, you should head on over there. You know why? Well, it has awesome articles and podcasts every single day of the week. It's your pop culture mecca, as it were. And heck, why don't you go ahead and just go over to Apple Podcast or whatever podcast player you listen to and subscribe to the RetroZap feed. And that way you can get all of the RetroZap podcasts delivered straight to your device for free. Such as, the Ardcast, Beltway Banthas, Brews and Blasters, the Deucecast Movie Show, Dork Lair, Kanata's Castle, Starship Sabers and Scoundrels, and Techno Retro Dads. Whether it is movies or video games or Star Wars, and just pop culture in general, RetroZap is the place to be. Well, with that, that'll do it for today's episode. So for Nathan, this is Joey saying good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
This podcast is not endorsed by Warner Brothers or Amblin Entertainment and is intended for entertainment and information purposes only. Animaniacs, the Warner Brothers logo, all names, pictures, and sounds of the Animaniacs characters or any other Animaniacs-related items are registered trademarks and or copyrights of Warner Brothers, Amblin Entertainment, or their respective trademark and copyright holders. All original content of this podcast is the intellectual property of the Animanicast unless otherwise indicated.